Happy New Year, everybody. All right. We got the mic working. Well, it's my privilege to introduce Jonathan this morning, and this organization is really about collaboration and coming together to meet other people of like-mindedness from all sectors in our community to collaborate with them. And we first met Jonathan about 4 years ago when he wandered into our church and our Celebrate Recovery. And it was brought up at our table that in the story of the Good Samaritan, it was a man who was beaten up and injured that all the good people just walked around and ignored. Well, we believe in our culture it's the mentally ill that are people like that, and people just avoid them and they're afraid of them and they walk around them. But you know, as we come together as a community, we can collaborate, and this is an incredible story of collaboration of how all the community resources came together to help Jonathan. But the most important story is that Jonathan was ready, and he was ready to be honest with himself that he needed help so that the community could come around him. So you're going to hear an incredible story, great way to start 2020, and would you please give Jonathan a big round of applause.
Struggles with generalized anxiety disorder as well. And the consequences of my mental illness that led me here today in recovery from sexual addiction and game addiction. Would you pray with me? Father God, I thank you for this story. This is your story. I've been so blessed to be a part of. May this bring hope to someone who may not have hope tonight. May this just bring honor and glory to your name, God. And I pray these things in Jesus Christ. I was only child born to Steve and Deborah on July 11th, 1983. I was raised in a non-Christian home. The only time I ever went to church was on the occasions that my aunt had babysat me on the weekends. When I did go to Sunday school, I was very confused about what they taught. The whole Jesus rising from the dead thing was difficult for me to understand at that time. I was raised in a loving home. I have good memories of family vacations, including camping trips, going to watch Giants and San Jose Sharks games, and many racing events as well. When I got to first grade, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I was put on meds and to special days class that continued until I was a sophomore in high school. This diagnosis and separation became my journey into isolation, driven by the feeling I was different because I thought I was stupid. Often I heard other kids would call me retarded. These names brought great shame on me and made me ask why I was different. My parents did everything they knew how to love and support me, so when I was young, my parents bought me my first gaming system, a Nintendo. This took me deeper into isolation as this move quickly became an addiction. I loved to play Super Mario Bros. I could totally nail the turtle trick to get those infinity lives. I would veg out on these games as much as I could, usually 3 to 4 hours a day until my parents eventually kicked me off. When I was 8, I also began acting out by stealing stuff from stores. Every time I got away with it, I would get a rush, greatly rest, greatly reward. The first time I got caught, I was 15 at Target in San Jose. My only consequence was I was banned from that store. That did not stop me. I was so deep in denial that I did not even recognize that it was wrong. And being an addict, I loved the rush I always got. In 2000, we moved to Modesto, and once here, I got caught again. I was released into custody of my father. They notified my school judge, Joe Hinkson, as well. I was put into a program for teenagers that had been arrested for petty crimes. I completed that program, and my record was wiped clean. In recovery, we have a saying that if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I continued to steal until I was arrested again. This time I had to go to court. At court, my parents paid a fine. I did community service, and I was banned from that store. The judge threatened me, let me know this was the last chance, and it would be prison next time. And since 2003, I haven't even thought about stealing anything from anyone. Isaiah 61:8 says, "For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and wrong." Another life-changing event happened when I was 9 years old. I had a friend who said if I acted out sexually with him, he would let me watch Batman Returns because he knew my dad would let me watch it. This would change my entire outlook on my sexuality. A couple of years later in middle school, I had a friend show me how to look up porn on the internet. This began my slide into sexual addiction, as it became something I could control in my out-of-control life. It made me still feel so good in the moment too. My parents both had to work hard to work, so I began attending schools where I had never fit in anyways, to stay home and act out with my growing addictions. During this time, I began stealing money from my parents. I would also begin using their credit cards, ordering pizzas, and self-medicating with food as well. By the time I moved to Modesto in 2000, both addictions were in full swing, though I remained in full denial, not even thinking it was wrong or right at all. I was becoming ever more isolated to avoid the pain of my life, gorging on food while watching porn. My parents beat me or thought I was missing school, but all they needed to do was to ground me. By this time, I was so isolated that this just worked fine for me. It didn't matter how many times I was grounded, how much pain I was causing my parents. I just needed my fix. I didn't care how I got it. I was eventually kicked out of Cheerio Hansen High School as a junior. I was so angry and blamed my parents for moving from San Jose to Modesto, taking me away from all my friends and connections. Soon after this, I was diagnosed with depression. I was put into Elliott High School's independent study program. In 2001, I returned to Johannesson, and I only lasted 2.5 months this time. Before my addictions crept in and took control, and I was sent back to Elliott to complete my high school program. In June 2002, I graduated from Elliott. After graduation, I tried attending Modesto Junior College, but again, I never fit in. My addictions and isolation were in such control that I had no longer the self-discipline for this schooling. Addictions always grow stronger. So as my weight ballooned, I became more and more depressed, regularly sleeping over 12 hours a night. In 2000, when I was 22, I got my first driver's license. I needed a job to afford it. So I got my first job at McDonald's. It started off great. I enjoyed working there, but when they put me on a drive-thru, the night manager became impatient with me because I wasn't going fast enough, and my desire to speed up, I kept making mistakes. After about 2 weeks feeling once again like a failure, I quit. I lied to my family, telling them I was fired because I thought if they knew I was having increasing symptoms of my mental illness, they would put me in the hospital for the rest of my life. This failure and my inability to fit in at work sent me on a downward spiral as my mental health symptoms became much, much worse. About a week quitting, I became so depressed I tried to kill myself. But as you can tell, I couldn't complete it. I was placed in a hospital in Vallejo, and this is where I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. Over the next 9 years, from 2005 to 2014, I'd be in and out of hospital 10 times. This was a very dark and scary time for me. I thought a lot about death, how I could kill myself as I became more and more paranoid. I heard voices in my head telling me I was worthless and that I should kill myself. This created, I had no hope for my life, and this is how I thought I would live the rest of my life. This created my very first thoughts that I needed someone greater than me for help. In 2007, I applied for SSI and it was approved. This was not a blessing because like every active addict, I was unprepared to handle the money. I just spent all of it on my addictions. Today, if it wasn't for my dad and the church, I would have no money right now. They helped me to learn how to budget my money. During this period, with everything going on, having no hope for change, I began blaming God. This made so much sense because one of the lessons I remembered from my visits to church was God had created me, so it must be His fault since He created me this way. I also knew my parents didn't give me this illness. I was first in my family history to be diagnosed with mental illness. I also knew I had not children, so it wasn't my fault either, so I blamed God. When I told this to my Aunt Pat and Uncle Stephen, they refused to let me believe God did this to me. They told me it's a sinful world. And ever since then in the world, there has been illnesses. They even bought me my first Bible on my birthday in June 2005. John 3:16 says, "For this is how God loved the world. He gave His one and only Son, so everyone who believes in Him will not perish, but have eternal life." It would take me 3 years to hear those words, actually 7, but on October 8, 2009, I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, experienced a spiritual awakening. A year later, on December 19, 2009, I was baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But I still had not been led or taught what it means to wholly surrender my will to Him. This will take another 7.5 long years. Acts 2:38 says, "Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of your sins, and you receive the gift of the Holy Spirit." So, even with this spiritual awakening and my regular attendance and service at North Minnesota Church of God, I continue in addictions every day. But now the Holy Spirit was working in me, so I had a new awareness of how wrong my choices were. So I entered a vicious war between God, my flesh, and the demons as I would use, feel guilty, repent, use, feel guilty, only to repent once again, day after day. I again began to believe I would never be free of my addictions. After using, I would have major anxiety attacks and think if I died, that I would go straight to hell. Do not pass go, and do not collect your dollars. In late 2014, I finally hit rock bottom. I knew I could no longer live like this. I knew I needed help, so I saw that this would be the beginning of my recovery. I began my recovery journey in January 2015 with the help of 2 pastors from different churches. I confessed my sin to both these men, ready to be rejected, yet I received unconditional love instead. One of them lovingly suggested I attend Slaback recovery. He also recommended that I admit my addictions to my dad. This was one of the hardest things I had ever done, yet it was such a huge step after my denial. My dad also loved me unconditionally, but I still did not connect myself with recovery. I did get 89 days of sobriety, but was still very isolated. So I began telling myself I was cured. Denial is more than a river in Egypt. So after 89 days, I relapsed. In July 2015, I began receiving services from BHRS and Employment Services, where I met Tom. She became my point person there. Her role was to train me how to get a job. There I learned how to fill out applications, do interviews, and do what it takes to keep a job. At first I thought it would be useless. I thought to myself, who hired me? Calm and Beatrice would not let me believe this stinking thing. They just kept on encouraging me, and last year after 2 interviews I was hired by the Modesto Nuts. This has been simply awesome. Thank you so much, Tom, Beatrice, and Employment Services. In August 2015, I attended my first Slaback recovery meeting at Big Valley Grace Church. Little could I have predicted how this would alter the course of my life. As I walked in, I was very afraid how big the worship center was, and there were so many people there, and I was sure I would not fit in. That night, I was met at the door by Anthony. He made me feel truly welcomed, accepted, even loved, and through him I sensed I might be in the right program. I came back the next week, started to go to the share groups where I sat with other men with the same struggles I had. I quickly realized they were finding victory and experiencing the joy of freedom through their relationship with Jesus Christ, and I knew I was in the right program. On August 18, 2015, I joined my first written step study, even though at the time I had no idea what step study was. I began to learn I had to be willing to go at any lengths to find victory. It was in this step study in late September 2015, when we got to the third step of recovery, that I found the very first time in my life I truly surrendered my will, my life, to the care and control of Jesus Christ. Over the next 7 months, I built healthy male relationships with other godly men. Today, I can honestly say that I love each and every one of them, and I'll do anything for them. A few weeks later, as we started the lesson on sponsor, I had no clue how to find one. But I followed the instructions from the other men in my group. For someone like me, this was a very difficult step because I had to withstand a few times men said they could not be my sponsor. Looking back, this was huge for me to take the risk and not run from rejection. But the Lord was working and I stayed, and He guided me to a great sponsor. He became an incredible blessing to me, and I love him with all my heart. Thank you, Steve. Over the coming months, the men in this step center became closer than brothers. I would never have made it through that difficult year without them, as together we worked the difficult, honest program of work of recovery. Before I knew it, I had gained 1 year, 11 months, 24 days of sobriety. Sadly, relapse is so often a part of recovery. 1 week shy of my 2-year anniversary, I fell again. Proverbs 26:11 says, as a dog returns to its vomit, so full repeats its foolishness. I found myself back on the center wheel of repentance and relapse. As I continue my recovery, this last Tuesday night, I see the summer recovery I received my lending paycheck. Looking back, for me, the first step of doing a fairness and searching moral inventory was the most difficult, as I had to look at myself and all the sin of my life head on. This certainly was not a feel-good step. Writing all that stuff down was so difficult. It began with prayer, and the Lord helped me through it. Next came step 5, admitting to God, myself, and every human being the exact nature of my wrongs. I was so anxious going into this step. Yet, as I shared my inventory with my sponsor, I had a peaceful, easy feeling come over me. When I was done, the overwhelming feeling of freedom flowed through my body. I was forgiven and free at that moment. Step 9 was another difficult step. I had to go to my family, friends, and all the stores that I had stolen from to make amends for my wrongs. The Anxiety was huge, but once again, the Lord was faithful, and my family and recovery brothers were proud of me, so proud of me, as they encouraged me and cheered me, not telling me how humble and courageous I was to do this work. Going back to restore, I still was life-changing. Some accepted my money, some others did not, but it was always amusing how none of them could seem to grasp why in the world I was doing this. One was even ecstatic that I would make these financial amends. On July 5th, 2016, I completed my first step study. It had taken us 11 months, and it was known it was only by God's grace that He's gotten me through it. Today, I have completed 3 step studies. I have gained so many more brothers. Today, I'm faithful with my maintenance steps. Step 10, I do a daily inventory and work quickly at admitting my mistakes. Almost every day, I work my step 11, spending private time with just me and God. Today, I work my 12th step, giving back what the Lord has given me in so many ways. I could never imagine standing in front of people and talking. So today I'm giving back here, telling my story, being vulnerable and honest, offering each of you the same hope I have found. I attend CR every Tuesday night where I serve on the food and dessert team. You can join me any Tuesday helping out on an amazing food and dessert team. Amazingly, I have also become so connected at Big Valley Grace, serving in other ways as well. At weekend services, I serve on the parking lot team, and 2 years ago, I joined the choir where I served most weekends at Big Valley Grace. I found a whole new group that have become my forever family. I also completed a money management class at Big Valley Grace, and trying to live debt-free, so I can use the way God use my money the way God wants me to. In January 2017, God even blessed me with my very first apartment. My whole life, both me and my family believed I would need to be put in a group home because I was never safe being left by myself. I praise God for the spirit and joy every single day. Today, because of God, my relationships, and the tools of the CR program, I am not only sober from my addictions, but also with the multiple medications I've taken over the years. God has blessed me by guiding me and my doctor's medications that are actually working to give me a healthy mental balance. And my schizoaffective disorder has been stabilized. I know this is because of God's promises that He can and does renew my mind every day. Also, it's also important to know that with recovery from one food addiction, this is the healthiest my teeth have been since I was a kid. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by renewing your mind, and then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, good, pleasing, perfect will." God has now blessed me by now to start driving. I didn't think this was possible either. I thought I'd be using data right and the best system for the rest of my life. My relationship with my parents has been completely restored to the point where they actually trust me with their money, TV, internet, and phone. Today, through my relationship with my Heavenly Father, each friend I've made, I no longer hear the guilt, shame, isolation, being stupid or different. Today I am loved by so many. I know how to return this love as well. I hope you can understand this is given a miracle by the past. By the past, this is simply a miracle. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God did not give us a spirit of fear or timidity, but a spirit of power, of love, and self-discipline." If you are here this morning knowing your life is out of control, and I know this is true of many, please hear that if God can take me from where I was to where I am now, anything is possible to join us on Tuesday nights or any other CR area as We said work. It works if it works, so work it because you're worth it. Lastly, I want to close by giving thanks. First, once again, thank you, God. For also, I want to thank everyone who played a human role in my miracle. Thank you, BRS. Thank you for employment services. Thank you, COM. Thank you, NAMI. Thank you to my counselors, my doctors, my church. Thank you for my brothers and sisters in Christ as I'm recovery for lifting up when I need it. And once again, once I felt useless, rejected, discarded, and hopeless. Today I know that I'm loved, useful, and have a purpose and meaning. Given my struggle with mental illness, probably the greatest gift of all is that today I have peace of mind. I never imagined what was possible. Today I'm truly grateful for this gift He has given me through all of you. It would not have been possible if you had not accepted me, believed in me, and loved me. I close with this truth that I truly found in Isaiah 26:3. You, God, will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on me. Thank you for letting me shine.
Well, Catalyst is it's a monthly meeting. We come together, leaders of organizations, influencers across every sector of our community to develop trust and relationship with the notion that when we develop trust together in relationship, we will figure out how to work together. Because we're in a generation where nobody can function on their own. Organizations can't get anything done on their own. It's got to be collaborative. It's got to be together. And over the next couple of months, we're going to be looking at this notion, this sense that we all have mental health issues. Each one of us. And I wanted to get up and just say, hi, I'm Marvin, and I struggle with whatever. And you were supposed to say, and the thing is that each one of us have our own stuff at different levels, and they all look differently, but as human beings, we are all a mess. I used to say something like this: I'm a jerk, you're a jerk, we're all jerks, let's figure out how to get along together and work together. Because we all have our stuff. And as I thought about our time here, I want to mention just a few things to you, and I hope the slide is up right now. I want to encourage you that don't go alone. Don't go through this alone. Admit that we all have, that you got stuff, and I have stuff. And once you admit it to yourself, and to me, to the Lord, and to God, then you begin to say, okay, what am I going to do about it? And I want to encourage you, don't go alone because you're not alone. And I know at times you do feel by yourself, especially if you oversee an organization and other groups of people, you feel like, I can't talk to anybody around me. And that might be true in your situation, but you can find somebody. Gosh, you all know how to find me. Ask me, I can maybe help you, direct you towards somebody that's trusted. But I want to encourage you to not go alone, especially as we move forward here around this issue. I want to encourage you, and these are simple things. Probably the therapists in the room are rolling their eyes at the simplicity of this. But take time out of your day to make self-care a priority. Not only are you a gifted person, but you are a gift of God to the community, to all of us. You are the gift. And if we lose you, then we will lose. And so it's important that I want to encourage you, please, take time every day. I've had an incredible week and a half. I literally spent 4 hours in my chair reading, like 4 or 5 times in a row. It was amazing. It was amazing. And walking, just to get away and just clear my files in my head. But take making self-care a priority. And I want to encourage you, you are worth it to take time every day to be taken care of and to take care of yourself. Make exercise a part of your rhythm of life. Set yourself up so you aren't afraid to leave your current job. You know, some of us work in toxic situations. And you might be working in a place that's just sucking the life out of you. And so begin thinking about, how can I set myself up for another role or another position or moving ahead? And the city ministry staff are going, oh my gosh, I'm out of here. Chicago. And a business and a job always takes on the characteristic of its leader and its CEO or its director. It always looks like the leader, whether you like it or not. I set the tone, you set the tone. And so look around. How are people responding? Because you might be the issue. I want to encourage you to seek professional help. I wish there was a season of my life when I thought I didn't need professional support because I had friends, which is important, but then I was so stuck. I needed some professional work. I needed someone to walk me through my mess. And it was incredible, an incredible opportunity to go to a counselor or a therapist or a coach, you know, because men don't get counseling, we get coaching. And I just went to a mechanic, and seeking professional support. And I was a mess. And don't pretend everything's okay. And even if your story is not like Jonathan's, to the extent that Jonathan's was, don't pretend that you're okay. Take a look at yourself. Have the courage to take a look at yourself. And to consider. And maybe even with trusted people. Say, you know, work with me here. What do you see? What do you think? And then begin to consider some areas of your life that you can work. A book that's really helped me, and it is spiritually based. It's called Emotionally Healthy Leadership. And begins to walk you through just what that looks like. Because I had no idea what emotionally healthy leadership looked like. I had no idea what it was. And even though I've been a leader for a long, long time in my life, an influencer, I really didn't know what that looked like. And so now I'm beginning to have some patterns and some pictures, and oh, that's what that looks like. Oh, that's how that works. And not just for my own sake, but for the sake of those that I'm responsible for. So I want to encourage you. Next month we're going to be bringing in a person to talk with us about what it means as an organizational leader. What it means to build teams in your organization or your work that are mentally healthy. How do you create a psychologically safe space where people around you are getting their stuff done, but they're not dying on the vine because they work with you or they work for you, right? You understand that, don't you? Okay. So that's what we'll be looking at next week, so that when you come back next month, you bring somebody back, everybody's back from vacation, then what we're going to look at is how do you build teams and employees and volunteers so you can begin moving in a direction of mental health. Or at least identifying the places where we're broken and shoring them up. So let me give you a couple of takeaways. If you want to go deeper in the topic, that's the book that I would recommend. But I've spent a lot of time on this. There's a book by Samuel Chand called Pain. Pain is used to shape and mold you in a good way, all right? So, but don't read that one. That one will mess you up. So don't even go there. Not yet. But you might want to, if I was sitting here and and the thought came to my mind, who could I talk to about this? Just kind of have a conversation over coffee or whatever. Grab a trusted other, and that's what I call them. There are some people in my life, none of you in the room, but there's some people that I would never talk about my mess with, because they're always going to give me 3-point outlines and tell me how, well, let me tell you how to fix that. I'm sorry, I don't need you to tell me how to fix it. Just listen to me. And I had to do that. Just listen to me. I'm pretty sharp. Just hear me. So if you're one of those people who always want to give a 3-point outline, shut up. Just listen to me. Just hear me. All right. So schedule a time just to talk with somebody. Say, can we just talk about this? You know, there are times when I struggle with, and you know, some of my stuff. I've always struggled with a lot of my life. I've never been good enough. A deep sense of shame. It drove me to be quote unquote successful. And then at the end of about 40, 45 years old, life said, excuse me, this is killing you. You're sick. Stop. And then I was into getting well for a long time. So schedule a time with somebody just to share with them about the story, Jonathan's story, maybe your story. But let's begin to take this out of the shadows. And begin to admit it and talk about it. Because I'm sick, and you are too. Okay. And then share with one person maybe what you learned and challenged with his words. Let me give you a couple of announcements, and I'm going to give you back your time so you can talk together. I want to encourage you, and on your table is the Catalyst flyer, back to back. Listen, we, just like you, we are a faith-based nonprofit. We have a fundraiser coming up in March. Hope to have you come and be a part with us. I know Doug said right now is to eat by a table, so you're welcome to join him if you'd like. Did you say that, Doug? Yeah. Yeah, you heard it, didn't you? Yeah. Thanks, Doug. And then promoted at the back table, there are some flyers in the back because we can't make announcements or everything. We just have you bring your flyers or your promotions back in the back, upcoming community events, because all that we do is important. Listen, I want to say to you that you are the gift. If there's anything I want you to know today, through Jonathan's story and just my few minutes up here, is that you are the gift. And not only do you need to take care of yourself, please give yourself permission to take care of yourself because you're valuable. But then let's watch out for each other. And let's care for each other and hear each other. Let's do that. The world is in a season of fragmentation. We're yelling at each other, screaming at each other. Nobody seems to be able to hear each other. And I want to encourage us to be a different model, a different individual. And that only takes it when you take that step back and learn to hear. Okay? I'm going to thank God for you, and then I'm going to let you talk. Master, thanks for the time together. Thanks for John's story. Christ. Good morning.